I've never pulled around that, so.
Okay, we want to welcome you to our City Council work meeting. It is August the 20th. The first thing we're going to talk about is our Hereford Tomato Days Community Dinner. So I kind of went through and wrote, made this sheet that we can maybe make some notes on it. If there's, I probably didn't push that over, sorry. Far enough. So I went through the food that we had talked about, that I thought if we could just maybe write down who we think, wants to be over that. I wasn't sure, so if I put your name and you don't want to do that, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to. So, but anyway. So, first off the bat, we're doing those pulled pork sandwiches. And Chad Funk said they will purchase the meat from Costco. They will get all that smoked like they did last year. So as far as the meat, we don't need to worry about that at all. So the buns, and I think Dale, you'd mentioned one. So you're getting
Through Bimbo
buns.
Bakeries, yep, they will donate
Great.
all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, because I put
Okay.
Dale because I didn't know, so we'll just plan on Dale. Okay, so do you,
Where's it coming?
Huh?
Where's it coming?
Oh my gosh.
Bimbo Bakeries
Never heard of it.
So
Where's
much
that?
at the BDO,
Oh,
huge
okay.
warehouse there.
So I haven't even worried about it.
Oh, I can't.
so do you need help picking those up, or you'll just
No,
pick them up? And-
Yep, I'll pick them up.
Okay, so I thought if you're okay with this, I would just buy the other food because then I could use the Sam's Club card, so we wouldn't have to worry about anybody paying for it. And so I wrote down you'll see. Are you still okay, Dale, with corn?
Corn will be okay.
So we
Yep.
talked about, but I didn't know, you tell me what you think about if we had 750 cobs, maybe cut some of them in half because,
That's what we
sometimes.
did last year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
That's what
We
I
cut 'em in
thought.
half.
So do you think that's
We-
too many then, 750?
How much we have left over last year, Bill? I don't
I don't remember.
Not very much.
I don't think there was a whole lot.
Like a half a cooler.
Yeah, I know it took us a long time to husk it all and break it up. We had like 5 of us doing it, but yeah.
Okay,
Whatever, yeah, is that what you brought last year? Was 750?
Gosh, I don't remember. I'd have to look on the receipt, but that
Yeah.
probably about that.
I
Okay.
couldn't
Okay.
remember last week.
Brian, you'll be in charge of the corn.
Not this year. Because
Cool.
Monday, the 31st, does not work for me.
Oh,
And
no.
I just saw that today, and I'm like, who decided on Monday?
That's when we did it last year, was the Monday before, instead of the Friday.
Wasn't it Saturday?
No, we did it last year Monday, because when we did it on we used to do it on Friday, and then it ended up being a real conflict with sporting
Football.
event, with football.
Friday
I thought
is
we
a
switched to
good
Saturday.
No, we had it was on Monday.
I know we did. Because we had a conflict on Friday, and we switched it to Saturday a couple years ago.
It could have been, since I've been doing Tomato Days, quite a few years, we did it on Friday, but I know last year it was on Monday.
I don't
Yeah.
It
remember.
would have been nice to have a discussion about the date, but it's too
I-
late now.
I actually show it on Monday,
Last year?
August 25th.
Yeah, and I remember the very first time we switched it to Friday, we thought, because it used to be on Saturday and then they would have the concert after, and it made it a little bit difficult. Well, okay, years ago they did the dinner and then they did the movie,
On Friday.
and that was on Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah, so it's been a little bit, but then last year, so,
I mean, I'll do my best, but I had no idea it was going to be next Monday.
yeah, it's a panic, it's that soon. Well,
Okay, so cut the cobs in half. That's what we need to fill in. I mean, we can do that right while we're.
We gotta shuck it, we gotta cut them, we gotta cook it, we gotta get all the pans, we gotta get the burners, we gotta have people to do it all.
so we can have those, I think the city workers will bring
We had,
down
we had the city
the
workers
white
help a lot
coolers,
last year.
the burners. It's people though, getting it husked and
Yeah.
cut in half. And how did you cut it in half last year? Did you have
We had knives.
knives?
Yeah.
We
A lot
can-
of them you can break, yeah.
Yeah, you can break.
Or we can get Lizzie Borden to come help.
How many people do you think you need, Ryan? And we could just say each of us brings so many
We had
people.
about
I'd say
8 last year, I think, probably
To
helped
cook
us,
it
because
or
we had
to
several city employees came and helped.
I'd say 8 to 10.
I don't
Planning.
have nothing that day. I can be there all day.
Planning commission people came and helped.
My
some of
wife,
last
I'm
year.
sure she would come and help. She'll
Tra-
cover it for you, right?
Travis
I'll
Bates.
do the best I can. I promise I'll try and
I know.
make it work.
I know you will.
It would just be nice to know.
Well, I think we
before,
just,
the week before.
yeah, just went by the same schedule as last year. Because we felt like we had a better turnout.
Okay, will that be
Because we
assumable that we're gonna do that next year while we're here right now, just a Monday ahead?
It really did
but
work
yeah.
out really pretty good because there was nothing else. And we
So-
called it the family dinner night and then we had that dance and
What
there was-
will, so,
How
Okay.
many people do each of us need to bring then, or?
what if we each just, if you could, we could each bring two and we could also ask planning commission. What time of the day did you meet down there to start doing it?
Like 2 o'clock.
More?
I think it was like 1 or
Two.
2.
So
Yeah.
did you want to say?
What time's the dinner start?
Dinner
6?
starts at 6.
Yeah, because it don't take long to cook it. We cook
Why don't we
it.
start, yeah, I don't know, I was thinking maybe noon.
I'd rather be
Shucking
ahead.
us to-
I'd rather be ahead.
I would say by
Let's
2
plan
the
it.
latest, 1 o'clock probably.
So
Maybe-
what kind of problem do we run into freshness wise with the corn if we started in the morning when it's a lot cooler? Or is that bad for you guys?
Well-
I know it is for
I'd
you,
rather-
Ryan.
Well, afternoon is gonna be better for me, because I
Yeah.
can probably work the morning till 1 and then be able to get
Okay.
off at 1.
I know
And
they went in
should
the
we shoot for
shade
one
last
then,
year,
Ryan?
didn't they?
We did it under the valley
Shade.
last year.
Yeah,
And it was
wasn't
under
bad.
that big tree we did it under.
Yeah, we
So-
did
Okay.
it.
if we
okay,
throw
let's
it
say
in
1
water,
o'clock.
it'll be okay. Cool water.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then just, how long do we need to cook it? Hour?
Well, everybody's got their thought, but, you know, mine's, you bring water to boil, cook it for 6 minutes and you're done.
Yeah, it
That's
cooks-
Once you
once you
boil
get
it,
the water boiling,
it cooks fast.
Yeah, I know last year we got it boiling and then just
Yeah.
tossed it in and it
Yeah.
went
Mhm.
quickly. We had, in fact,
I'd start,
planning commission was timing it for us. We
I'd
had
start
like 4
cooking at
members
5.
from the planning commission last year helping us.
We could start cooking it at 5 and have enough going.
Okay, so what time did you decide on then for us to be there to start, 1 o'clock?
I think 1 o'clock would
Okay.
be good enough.
Okay,
I will do like 90% sure I can be there, but
okay.
You know what?
That's
If
fine.
it's a big deal, don't worry about it because we can do it.
Okay, Ryan, I can't remember.
I can't do it without you, Ryan.
it's okay.
Ryan, last year so we talked about whether to get the little individual butters or have butter in a crock pot and dip it in, and we couldn't remember. Some thought that the little packs were a little
Individual ones.
We did
harder
the little packs
to
last year.
use.
Made it more sanitary,
Yes.
kept the flies
Okay.
at bay.
Yes.
Okay,
All
so,
that stuff.
so I'll just get the small butter packages.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, tomatoes still, are you okay
We
or
want to be able
not?
to pull through on tomatoes, at least from what we've grown. I don't know where we're gonna find
I don't know
tomatoes
where we're
this
gonna
year.
find tomatoes.
So
It's
I'm
gonna be
go ask
difficult.
Kent's, we got them from Kent's 1 year.
Okay. Do you want me to ask Kent's? We have an account with them.
Yeah.
Do
Won't
you,
hurt.
Dale, do you remember at all how many we did? I didn't know,
I
like a
don't.
bushel,
We need
I
to
Well,
write this
a
stuff
bushel
down.
would be
I was
enough, I
gonna say,
think.
was it
Yeah.
just a half a bushel?
Could have been.
Or was it a full bushel?
I bet we can put an order in like with Cedar Crest Farms or Venstra's or somebody.
Venstra's probably not. Cedar Crest, I'm not sure.
I'll talk to Kenny.
Peterson, talked to,
Oh, yeah, I can talk to Peterson too, yeah.
Well, Kent's
Okay.
get theirs local from
Ray,
somewhere
I'm
in
gonna do you
Clearfield.
then, down
Okay,
to
I'll find
tomatoes.
out, how many do you want, half bushel of tomatoes? Is that what we're looking for?
so Ray's there for tomatoes.
I don't know.
Half bushel is not that many. Let's do a full bushel.
Okay, do a bushel. And then, I think last year Erin and her mom sliced them, but I don't know that we can count on that. I mean, we can ask her, because Erin's helping this year with tomato
Did you use a
days.
slicer one time?
I've done it every year but last year.
Every
With the-
year Ryan's
With the
done it.
tomatoes, with the electric slicer
That's a
No.
manual
or
one.
manual.
Mhm. It works good once you get the
Mm.
process going.
Do you want me to ask Erin if she could help with that? Or do you, so
Couldn't
we
hurt.
don't?
We can get somebody to do it. great.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay,
of
I'll
course
ask
you can
Erin.
do it.
Yeah.
Many
Okay.
hands make light work.
Okay.
So you're gonna ask Kent's, or do you want me to call him?
Ray said he will.
I'll find the
You're gonna
tomatoes.
find him.
Yeah. Okay. So
Try
then we
and
talked
get 'em
about,
Slices.
Somewhat pink. They don't work in the slicer if they're
If
ripe.
they're really, really good,
Yeah,
okay,
I'll figure out the
pinkish.
Are you still over slicing?
No.
I'm gonna
That's
ask
going right to
Erin.
Ray?
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron.
Erin, if
If we
her
were
and her
young
mom.
kids,
went.
I'd say, I'll get the tomatoes. Just won't tell you where.
You'd have a hard time stealing them this year, Larry. They're not in your house.
Okay, then we talked about large pickles. They said last year they just had barbecue sauce that was in the bottles, that people just put it on it if they wanted it. Loft House is donating the cookies. We have to pick those up the Tuesday before. Julie Lloyd is donating the water. the tables will already be down there, but then we just have to set up the tables. Jamie will have tablecloths because she orders those with all of them. And then I'll just go, we thought probably those clamshell things again, those were a little easier for parents to help carry. So we'll get those. And then the napkins, silverware. Okay, so in the past,
No, I've got you don't, I should have thought, buns, this is just for the dinner, it's not for
just for the,
things,
yeah, only the dinner.
the rest of tomato days.
Yeah,
All you
only the
want me to do
dinner,
is
yep.
get enough just for the dinner?
Yep.
Okay.
So just those two.
1,500, is that what that?
Yeah. So I put down some ideas. We've had help serve before. I don't know who you want to have help serve. We've sometimes, like I said, share a fire or family. Sometimes missionaries have came. And one thing that's really beneficial is we have people there to help carry plates, because sometimes you have a mom come up and she has 3 kids, so she's trying to carry, 4 plates. So do you have a preference over who we ask to come and help serve?
I've got good connections with the missionaries. I can call them,
Okay,
and they might be able to even get the ones from West Haven to help too.
okay,
They are always looking for service projects, so I think I'll call the missionaries.
okay.
Sheriff and fire are always.
Do you want me to ask the sheriff and fire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then if we have any, and if we had missionaries, they could also help carry plates.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So then there has to be a donation table. So there's a pop-up. The city has a pop-up that we can use. We just need to put it up. We'd put a table underneath it, and Jamie will get the cash box, but we need a couple of volunteers sitting there to take the money. So I don't know if any wives want to sit there, take the money, if you have kids, anybody?
I can get that covered, the cash box.
Okay, you'll get the volunteers to take the money?
Yeah.
Okay. She did.
What's
That's
that?
right. Stan Thurgood's wife helped. Jackie. Okay,
Hello.
You let us know when you're ready.
sure, yep, thank you. Okay, and then I just put cleanup, even though we already know we have to clean up, but is there any other that I've missed on this that you can think of?
I was there just to serve last year because of other obligations, so I don't even know what,
Can you think of anything, Ryan or Dell, that's done this before that I'm missing? Oh, well, okay, I was
many-
gonna say salt and pepper, but it's in the packet. We do those napkins that have the salt and pepper in the packet with the silverware.
How many people did we have come through last year? Did we do
So
the
we
count?
plan on 1,500. They completely ran out of the pulled pork last year. So we just did the same number again, 1,500, unless you think we should change that. He had a little bit that had scorched in the bottom, so he said he maybe could have had, like he had some in the bottom. He said, well, we're not serving.
Yep, how far did we run out ahead of
Oh,
time?
we were good.
It was right
No,
at the end.
it was at the very end.
Okay,
I mean, I wouldn't say we necessarily ran out. I think we just got to the end and he said, well, I still could have served some of this, but it might be a little more scorched.
okay.
so I do know that there was probably 30 or 40 watermelons left over last year.
Yeah,
I
we're
do
not-
remember,
We're not doing watermelon.
okay, all right.
Because that was just a lot of work and it was so much left over. And we're not doing baked beans because it's hard and the baked
They're
beans really
expensive.
end up more, yeah.
They're real expensive.
They are more
Yeah.
expensive than the pulled pork. So,
Even though they're good.
Person, so.
yeah, they were really good. Okay, does this sound like good then? Anything? Because I told Jamie, I'd make sure we went over this so they don't have to worry about it. It's just going to be,
So,
we'll take
1
care.
o'clock and somebody will be there to tell me what to do, right?
Shot corn.
Okay, I can do it.
Well,
And
it
I'll bring
seems
2
like there
others.
was an issue with the tomatoes last year when they sliced them. They didn't put them in the tubs and put them in the fridge. You know how those little tubs we have?
Yeah,
Seems like there's like 6 or 8 of those.
we do have the tubs, I think, are down in the rodeo
They just need to
plaza.
make sure they slice them and get them in the fridge,
Yeah.
like pronto.
There are some new health department people. One of them is really, really strict, which is okay, but but they are really. So you're right. We need to get them right in the fridge because for the queen contest, the junior queen, they actually brought a thermometer, stuck it in the fridge, and said our fridge wasn't cold enough. So
Wow.
It's usually hot. The temperature of the pork is what they're worried
Yeah, no,
about.
they,
For the hot stuff.
you know, they were checking,
Now
the-
they're checking the cold stuff.
they were checking the fridge that we set up.
Yeah.
Well, I think,
Let's
so much
make
food
sure we
to
put a
move
list
out of the
together,
field,
we
huh?
once we know we did, so we know next year, we
yes, that's a
let's
good
keep
idea.
track of it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so the next thing we were going to talk about in our work meeting. So Alan Coleman, our ordinance officer, had came and said some cities have an ordinance that allows us to be able to take care of some of these ordinances. I mentioned that to Darren, and lo and behold, he had one.
Yeah, and I'm happy to talk about it right now. I'm
Yes,
ready.
okay.
So I've been working on this with South Salt Lake. Their code was not very clear on code enforcement. It was just everywhere throughout the code. So I created this that was kind of put all the normal issues that cities deal with all in one spot. And so she asked me this question, I sent it, and I hadn't yet looked at our ordinance regarding these issues, and we already have one. We already have a pretty good ordinance for code enforcement. So our 941 is actually decent. So I'm wondering what he's saying are the concerns.
Well, one thing he said is he thought, so the city had the ability to be able to put a lien on the property. So I think it was last year, or maybe the year before, we kind of beefed up our fee schedule and said they would be charged per day, but then we don't really ever do that. But I thought he said there was some ordinances that actually the city could do an abatement and without having to, like having to go to court or pay.
Correct.
And ours already says that?
Ours already has it. We already have
Okay.
an abatement procedure. So if somebody is given notice that they have weeds that are longer than what's required per code, or if they have waste that's being kept in their yard, we can give them notice, and we can go in and actually abate the property and charge them for the abatement.
Okay.
And then at the same time, our code has an ability to give citations daily per the fee schedule. So I'm wondering,
Who gives those citations? It
It
would
would
just
be-
come from the
Is
office?
that the county
it
code
could
enforcement guy?
be an enforcement official, so it could be any person that works for the city that's designated as the enforcement official. I'll have to look at the definition for that for our code, but
Okay.
usually it's anybody that works for the city.
Okay.
But we've hired somebody from the county.
Yes, we have a
Yes.
county code
Mhm.
enforcement.
They
right
would
now.
be an unenforcement official that could issue citations
Okay.
for all of these things that are in this code. So maybe I need to talk to him and see what his concern is and what's
I'll
lacking.
send you his information, his email and his phone number, and that would probably be good. Because he maybe has, he is really, and he wants to come to one of our meetings, but 6 o'clock he doesn't want to come. If we could do it earlier in the day, he would sooner, because it's, he's off work. I'll tell you though, he is doing a great job. One thing that he's doing differently that Iris did is he will actually meet with the people, and they will come in and we sit down and meet.
Mhm.
Like there's that a property, you probably all know which one I'm referring to, that's up closer to, Emma Russell. And so they came in and we actually, he said, this is a guideline. Waste Management has given a dumpster, and she's already filled it twice and has dumped it twice, and Waste Management is paying for that. But he does that. He sets up appointments, and they come in and meet, and then, it seems to be going better, because then there's a little bit of accountability on the people's part, and it's been really good. He also has some, though, that he has gone to meet with. They won't answer the door, won't answer his letters, and then that's what he said, now what do I do?
So these are based off citizens' complaints.
Citizens' complaints.
So they won't respond, but then he hasn't issued him a citation.
He hasn't, because
Okay.
he didn't, I don't think he realized that he had that ability to.
Well, our code enforcement official should be very much aware of our code, because that's what they're enforcing.
Okay,
So yeah, I'll have to meet with him.
okay,
If there's specific things that he's saying, like, oh, I wish we had, because that code that I've provided with South Salt Lake has a lot of different tools, and we could add them in here, but this is pretty good.
If you think ours is good enough, let's
Is-
roll with it.
Unless there's issues we're dealing with that are different. Like if we're dealing with just weeds, if we're dealing with just waste in people's property, if if there's something more complicated than that, then let me know and we can make changes here. But I think that this is sufficient. A code enforcement officer should come in with this and have ample tools to get work done in
Okay.
code enforcement.
Well, he's extremely organized. He said when he took over, maybe I've already told you this, he was handed this files and said, "Here you go." And he said, "I don't work like that." So when he comes, they're all organized, all alphabetical. He has pictures. He's really good.
Now, who is this?
His name is Alan Coleman, and we contract with him with Weber County. And he's doing a great job.
So he's the county guy?
He's the county. But
Okay.
we also have other ones that, I don't know if they necessarily fall within this, because we've had quite a few complaints about semis being parked on the side of the road.
I was just gonna say, does our parking code fall under this code as
So-
well?
There might be a separate, so parking,
Parking.
this is enforcement for this chapter. But I'll look at.
Because we do have a parking ordinance that we just talked about 2 or 3 years ago. That was created to make some teeth for the sheriff's department, basically.
Okay.
And it's based on a complaint thing too. Somebody has to complain in order for it to be,
I'll have to look at that. I didn't know that that was a specific issue, but I can look at that.
Yeah.
So
especially
it's-
in the wintertime.
it is like, so cities will usually just have a section that says enforcement officials can enforce any violation of our code, total. And this is more specific, which isn't terrible, but it's more specific about the common problems that cities have. So I can look into that further.
Okay, well, I will. I'll give you his information, because he made it sound, because I think they do, or I think he's pretty aware of ours, but I don't think he felt like, or maybe he was asking me too, who is the one that does that? Like, I don't know if he thought he was the one that is supposed to be doing that, or if that was somebody that we're supposed to in the city, and I didn't know who that person would be that could actually issue tickets.
So he's 9 to 5 with Weber County, Monday through Friday.
Uh-huh.
And when does he do ours?
No, we contract, he's out here during the day. I don't think he is 9 to 5.
He
in
just
Weber County.
responds on violations.
So Weber County?
Yeah.
For anybody who
For
contracts.
anybody, he
Yeah.
is the county guy, I think.
So I'm just trying to think, if he's full-time with Weber County, how does he have time to do our stuff?
Yeah, he comes here quite often.
I think he just comes here when he has a complaint. I don't think we have a lot of complaints.
But is he on their dime at the same time?
I'm
Does
not
that
sure
make
how
sense?
he gets paid.
I don't know that.
And that might fall under law enforcement too. That's a possibility.
Yeah, and law enforcement usually covers parking issues
Mhm.
as well. So was that how it was?
That's what it's been in the
That's how you
past.
remember? Okay.
Well, and Ryan, we could even find, we don't see in our budget where we're paying him. So we don't know where it's lumped in with.
Right.
If it's
It's
something
gotta be
else
under law
with Weber
enforcement.
County.
Don't mess it up.
I mean, it has to
Let's
be,
look into that.
it has to be something with the sheriff's contract. I mean, it has to be
Mhm.
lumped in with some of our Weber
Okay.
County services, is what I'm saying. It's not a separate contract, I don't believe, with him. I think it's in with some of our Weber County. And that's probably why he can come.
Okay.
But is there any other concerns code enforcement wise that's on the agenda? Is there anything else that there's an issue with? 'Cause I think our code is pretty good.
Yeah, I read through that one there, and I thought, holy smokes, if everybody started complaining about everything in that code, he couldn't do it in a 9 to 5.
And it's more giving tools and options for a code enforcement officer.
Okay.
I'm excited that we actually have a code that you think is good.
It's decent.
Darren, how often do you see noise ordinances for noise violation, or
Do we not have one?
I don't think we have one.
I see that often.
I
In
see
cities.
we have some complaints currently relating to that.
Noise as far as what kind of noise?
Trucks.
Huh?
Trucks.
Oh, like engine brakes or something, because we have one.
Cows
for-
moving, we've had a complaint about that.
We have one if someone's
We have a party
having a
ordinance.
party going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's work.
That's
We
what-
have some occasionally loud music in my area, in my house, that you can hear for about
Maybe it might
40
just be something.
In your house?
Yeah, I'll look into
in the
it.
area around my
I'll
house.
look into it with you, but
I didn't know if that's
didn't
where it
find one.
originated or-
I had a complaint
It
this week.
originated
I
very
couldn't
close to
find
me,
one
let's
to
put it that
support
way.
anything, so.
Are they next to a farm?
In fact, you
It's a
probably hear
piece of
the-
commercial property. He has a parking facility. starting trucks early in the morning.
Okay.
So I was just looking at how that jives with our code or not. 'Cause from land use, I think they can do it, but
Okay, well, that's good. I'll get him your
That's a good
information.
question. How would we enforce that? Where it's on that law?
I have to get familiar with the code and what we have.
Is there any city council reports? Anybody had anything?
Well, I don't have anything that's a report, but is everybody getting these complaints that we're not paying attention to?
Hey, let's not. We don't need to bring that up here. I would advise you that we don't need to bring that up here.
So do we put it on?
I mean,
You just don't want me to answer.
So you know so you're familiar with what we're talking about, but it keeps coming up and
right,
we're
right.
not.
I have addressed it in this meeting already. I have addressed it. We put it on the agenda once and we addressed it. If it's something that you want to discuss, you can put it on the agenda and you have an avenue to put it on the agenda. It's not on there now. So I would advise that we don't talk about it.
Okay.
Okay, so on our next meeting, not the work meeting, we didn't get this put in the packet. So I didn't know, Darren, I was going to ask you if we can still discuss it and we can pass this out. This was that transportation impact fee, but because we didn't get it put in the packet, do we need to wait and do that at another meeting? Or can we pass this out now? I didn't know.
I mean, I prefer that if we have anything that's going to open up for discussion, that it gets put on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
Oh, it's on the
It's
agenda.
on the regular meeting agenda.
Oh, okay.
This sheet
Yeah,
just didn't get put in the packet, so can we just give this?
It just needs to be provided. If it's being provided here, it'll just have to be provided in the minutes.
Is it a way that we could put it up on the screen?
right, she sent it to me, yeah.
It was just a, okay, yeah, then we'll just put it up, okay. We'll let everybody just take one now then, because, anyway, okay. Okay, so if no one has any city council reports, we have the Terra Strata and AWA here with us, and they're going to have some time that we can sit around the table and discuss. the
Come
upcoming-
fill in and make it a
Yeah,
little
well,
cozy up here.
I walked in the other room
Troy.
and I saw the popcorn and I thought, what the heck, you know?
Sometimes we get popcorn now.
It's to eat, and it's
Yeah,
really
well,
good.
Staff I have to say, I actually grabbed a couple of things.
Staff makes great popcorn. There should be some cups in there.
I hope I don't get, you know, in trouble for doing that.
Nope.
Guess get lunch, please.
But you didn't get any popcorn either.
Chocolate candy bars.
Tell you butter to share.
Well, we'll just turn the time over to you to kind of walk us through this, and this is a time for council to ask any questions, and this will come before the council in a few weeks. It'll be on the next planning commission meeting, and so we thought it would be a good idea. They sat down for about an hour with planning commission. I thought that was really beneficial, because then it was more of a chance to be able to ask questions, discuss things, and so.
Before Troy starts, I just maybe say something. You know, we know this is new for the city. We've been at it for a while, so we know it's new. We haven't had a retail store like this in the city before. And so your staff's been really good. It's an effort from your attorneys. You got new attorneys and new people on. But we're trying to redo development area and make sure we do it right. And so Malcolm's been great, and we've been through a lot, and we're kind of creating a will together. I'm just saying, Troy talks about it a little bit, but it's really fortunate we have AWA. They've probably done more of these type of things in the state than any other engineering firm. And he's worked for a couple of cities. He's the city engineer, and so he's got a lot of background in most things. Anyway, I just want to thank Malcolm, and let's get going here, and the staff that's helped us. It's been quite a process, so thank you. And Troy's been a part of it.
I thought it would be helpful just to kind of start at the beginning of the story and answer some of the questions about why are we even doing this. So I started with the general plan, future land use element, and just as just, I think everybody's familiar with the general plan. The planning commission's been working that over in every meeting, just what does the general plan say, and that's just the lead-off document for them. So here's the general plan and the property in question shown in the red box, and this is what it says today. Now, today there's a red portion, and that's commercial out front, and so that use is listed there. And then in the back, it's purple, which up there refers to 3/4 acre lots. And so that is if we wanted to move forward with a rezone, we wouldn't have to do a general plan amendment. But if for this particular project, there's interest in a general plan amendment. And what that really does is says we want to expand the commercial a little further back from what was previously pictured, and then add some high-density residential in the back piece. And the
Be
interest in...
careful with the high. This is
Well,
moderate.
I'm using, I'm using, yeah, it's true. I'm just using their words, and I'm using it from their code. That way, I'm not talking a different language. And I'll clarify when we say high-density residential, what we mean. There's a portion of that that would be covered under the R3 zone, which would be third-acre lots, essentially, or 13,000 square foot minimums. And then we would have the PUD portion of the zone that currently exists in the city. And then we are looking to use the patio portion of the zone as well. So one of the challenges with the general plan is it doesn't look to utilize existing zoning code within the city. So what we're part of what we're trying to do is just ask for the ability to amend the general plan to be able to set up the future land use with the uses that the city currently has. Okay? So that's the general plan amendment part. Why is there a general plan amendment? Because we want the future land use element to reflect what the next part is, which would be the zone change.
So talking about the green, or maybe I will just for a second.
I was going to do that next, so you're fine.
But we were here a while ago, but there's another landowner in the area that's not a part of the estate that we're buying, and she indicated she wanted to sell her 7 or 8 acres. She's always been kind of hesitant to do it. Didn't want to do that, but she indicated she would like to do that. So we have actually included that in this process. So we didn't anticipate it, or we didn't know how exactly we would use it. You're going to see on a plan that we're trying to extend our commercial over there, as we talked to, I think in meetings like this. It really makes the retail better and more valuable, meaning that when you bring a power center, it's a bigger center, and it has more, each store does better just because there's more volume to it. And so it's better if the size's just a touch bigger. So we've actually put some pad retail out there. But we had some, we're in order to move that retail really to the west, we probably were looking for some type of anchor. I don't know whether Cal Ranch, you've got Ace Hardware up the street, I don't think they'll come. But we don't know if we can get another mid-box anchor to go to the side of Smith's. But last time we were here, I think with Steve and some of the planning commission members, there was a thought that it would probably be preferable if we can get it done. So we've allowed the green to be what we're referring to as a mixed use for a period of time. And we would, during this period of time, go out and try to find a user for that area. If we couldn't, we'd probably use it as residential. But so it can float back and forth between retail and residential, and we just haven't had time to find out if there's a demand for it. So that's the reason for that mixed use.
So these two colors and uses don't currently exist in the general plan. So that's what we're proposing to add, and then these colors correspond with that. And the mixed use is, it could be residential, it could be commercial, depending on if we can get the commercial to fill that out, or it would be residential. And again, maybe the response from the city council is, we don't want that. That's the direction we're looking for. We're just, give us that feedback. Okay. The next, so this would be and Darren can correct me if I'm wrong, but general plans are typically amended by resolution. Is that right? Good enough?
Good enough.
Right. So what you'll see, first item on your agenda, Planning Commission would see similar. For the Planning Commission to be recommend amending the general plan to what we're asking for, and that would be to, then they would forward a recommendation to approve the resolution. And then the first item on the agenda would be for the City Council to consider approving the resolution to amend the general plan. That's just step one.
And they can approve or disapprove.
Yeah, and if the direction from the city council is, we don't want to amend the general plan to this, then we know what we need to know. You don't want to go forward with the next step, which would be the rezone. And that's the next step. So in the rezone, I've got some names up here that are a little bit different, and I'll explain why that is. But what we're proposing for our site plan is to have the R3 around the outside. Now these folks up here, they're asking for their property to be rezoned, but they don't want to be part of the development. So I just stuck a cul-de-sac in there to say, here's what it could develop like. They've come back and said, please take that off. We don't want to have a cul-de-sac on our property. So when we come back the next time, you won't see that there. Just
So-
want to be clear.
So they want it rezoned, but they don't want a cul-de-sac?
They don't
So
want-
what are they gonna do then?
They are requesting access from 4700 for their property.
For that road to go straight through?
No, it would just, if they might have like 2 half-acre lots or something right here, and their driveways would just come out to 4700. No road at all. So this little stub street, we're just going to have a knuckle like the one over here. And that way the road can just turn the corner and come down here. No stub or dead end. Now, we know that Hooper Water has a piece of land up here, and they're developing a well there. And they're asking for access, and we need a place to discharge when we pump the waste from our well. We need a storm drain line to go into, and so forth. We haven't met with them yet because there's really no sense talking to them about having a stub road or even getting water service until we know that there's interest in amending the general plan and then taking the next step of the ordinance, which would be to rezone the property. Okay. So step 2 on, if I'm visualizing the agenda, item B probably would be for the Planning Commission to consider file a recommendation to the City Council to rezone the property. And that's after now there's going to be huge discussion, I get that, in the public hearing and so forth. But when they're making their motions, they would then, if they make a recommendation to amend the general plan, then the next motion could be to make a recommendation to rezone the property. And then that forwards that to you as well. Then the third item, and they kind of need to all be together because they run together, is the recommendation to approve the master development agreement if it's the Planning Commission. And then here it would be the recommendation to approve the master development agreement with the City Council. And the three, like I say, they kind of run together. Like, I don't want to approve like one of you may feel, I don't want to vote to approve the master development agreement as it's currently written. That's kind of the purpose of the feedback, the public hearing, and so forth, is we need direction. Now, at the City Council level, if the majority do not find that they would like to approve, we would ask perhaps tabling rather than denying, in the interest of understanding what the concerns are. We would like the sign to be shorter. We want the fences to be taller. We want the landscape buffer to be wider. All these details in this development agreement, which we're really proposing because the current code lacks the detail to manage a development on the part of the staff. And so what we're trying to get into the master development agreement is a code with more detail than the current code provides, that enables this project to be able to be developed and come back with
Protects
it.
the city
Yeah, well, sure.
Yeah.
And that would be,
and gives direction to development.
yeah, so that we're not just, it's not the Wild West. We've got guidelines and design standards and all that kind of stuff, okay? And so we would have the red that you saw previously in the general plan. We'd still be asking for that. With more particularly a zone to the C2, community commercial zone, that again already exists in your code. The flex mixed use space, which we talked about here, it's showing a portion in residential. And then there's a little bit of the commercial that goes back there. But if a bigger user came in, that would just expand further back.
You guys be agreeable to the primary design being commercial, since that's the goal, and then we could have a
We could change this concept, or I think it's called a design, whatever it's called in the development agreement, that is basically the concept plan we're going to agree to. If you'd prefer that to be shown in commercial, we can show it in commercial. I don't think that's a big deal.
I think that's the goal. Let's shoot for that. It
That's-
looks commercial.
That's the
and,
direction we're looking for. Is that, I'm looking at the council too, making sure at least there's shaking of hands, so for moving ahead.
And then- Oh, go
Sorry,
ahead.
didn't mean to interrupt, but I
You're
know
fine.
at that last planning commission meeting, there was a resident that spoke with you after, that her house is on the west side of where it now shows us Third Acre, that was concerned, she didn't necessarily want commercial right up next to her.
Can you point to our house and we can do,
We
we can do,
Third
I
one
hate to
down.
say it, but we can do a jog.
I think it's the third one.
Rob, right there.
I
think it's the
think
Or
she's either,
is
she might be either
Here, give me your
this
name and
one
I'll pull
or
it up.
this one. She's not, I know for
Oh,
sure
the
she's
third
not.
What's her
one.
name, Sherry?
Might be this one.
I'll find
she's
it
from
here.
Nottingham, England, I can
Yes.
tell you that.
Yes.
I don't
find it
remember her
here,
name.
hang on.
So I think they would be fine if maybe there was some more commercial, but they,
So here,
She does not want it in her backyard.
she doesn't want commercial in her backyard.
So I got,
We have a
I got
resident with
Whitney
commercial.
Lynch.
No, it's not her.
No, next, it's further to.
Is it the marker?
No.
Kristen
keep
Marker?
going north.
Wayne and Tracy Woodward.
Yeah,
Woodward.
Okay, so let me show you, Troy. There's the Stuff Road, and there's a cul-de-sac coming around,
Oh, okay, and they're on the cul-de-sac.
and they're on the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Okay, they're on the, not the cul-de-sac, the knob, whatever you call it.
So she was pretty clear. If there's residential in the backyard, I'm okay.
I'm bringing out all my pitchforks. That was what
No,
she said.
no, if it's commercial, then the pitchforks are coming
Yeah,
out.
all of
So
And that's just one person's vote.
Commercial wasn't gonna extend that far, no matter
How
what we
did-
did here,
yeah.
I don't think.
So,
So,
no.
so
So
I
I'm,
don't-
I'm
don't know if
showing
that's
on the
what's
corner lot in the blue, if you point to it, Malcolm, or somebody can, the very corner lot, that's a residential. Then hers, that's really not how it is, because it's a knuckle there, but that's her lot. And then the next lot is Hooper City.
it's
There's
a
third one
detention
down.
pond.
There's a bigger
Oh,
open
it's
field. There's a
detention.
house and then a field, I want to say, kind of a
Well,
big side
So
yard
so the first
on
one,
the knuckle.
first one
So
up there
you can see it there, Troy.
faces, their house faces north, her house
Corner
faces
house, hers, and then.
Oh, and then it's the
south
field.
or west.
Okay.
So the bottom line is that grain doesn't affect her anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
No, it doesn't.
So let's move on.
Okay.
No, but I just
Okay.
wanted to express that.
Yeah.
piece
I
of
think
it.
the idea of a residential buffer, though, is well taken. We all kind
Yeah.
of like that, so maybe that does maintain to an extent. There's commercial within it.
Yeah.
but-
And
Yeah,
she's one of those that has been there since the very first meeting that we ever had.
yeah.
So she's very involved.
So we'll do whatever you want. You've got to deal with the neighbors, okay? We'll move ahead. So that's kind of your call, and we'll do it. So that's,
But it looks like you still would have some room to put commercial there.
Up
yes.
more towards the front, or
We
Yeah.
probably just cover that green area in commercial. Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
And then the call it flex use that we can come back for residential if we need it. Okay.
there was also talk about combining the green space with the detention pond.
Yeah, we're working on that, Rob. So I don't know, but that's probably designing. We don't know. We're trying to.
That came up last time.
We're trying to, we're bouncing a little bit here, but we're done at geotech and we're doing geotech, right? We need to get on the property.
Yeah, but
Brandon's trying to
They're
get
trying to mobilize the drill rig now.
And we're also doing a survey with, I don't know if we know the grade on it yet.
Well,
So,
yeah, pretty flat.
is there an estimate of how many people this will bring in?
As far as
Residential?
Residential, I mean,
This density currently is about 115 lots.
115.
what do
Or,
they
sorry,
figure?
115.
Yeah, what do they figure? So it's gonna be less than 1,000?
Yeah, the average household in Utah is under 4.
because I know there's a lot of people that I've talked to that want more green space, but if you go into our general plan, it says per 1,000 people, six, was it 6 acres, or not 6 acres?
So,
Anyway, with the green space and with that detention pond would be more than what we have throughout Hooper already, so, you know.
So we've
You-
got
you
this just
estimated-
under an acre, 40,000 square feet. And then there is this detention pond area over here, but we're not far enough along to know even how big the detention pond needs to be. Usually it's about 4,000 cubic feet per acre on commercial development. And we've got about 24-ish acres of commercial currently shown. So it's a pretty good sized detention basin that we've got to get scores in.
so if you do 3 per home, it's 300. If you do 4 per home, it's 400. That's about what you're talking about. So, and so we would like to try to move the detention pond further north, but you can't get water to run uphill unless you put a pump on it. And so we're trying, that's why we're looking at grades. We don't know where to put the detention pond until we get those grades. So we'd like to move it as far north as we can.
So for the locals that are familiar, there's corn planted right here. And when I went over there last Thursday, there was about 2, maybe 3 inches of water. It was irrigated even though the corn's well past corn. But that water was clear over here in the alfalfa. So that says to me, and I'm just a kid from Pleasant View, that ground's pretty flat.
It's very flat.
Yeah, and what's interesting is there's a massive berm along this side in order to get the water high enough to be able to get around the property and keep it so that it slopes so it can be flood irrigated. Obviously, I mean, a lot of these fields were altered by the early pioneers to obviously be able to flood irrigate. And there's gonna have to be some grading done here to be able to get this thing to work.
How deep would a retention pond be?
I would recommend that it not be closer than 3 feet to the groundwater elevation because we don't want it to grow cattails. And that's a challenge in a lot of areas out here. So that's part of the geotech report. It's going to tell me how deep the groundwater table is so that we can start working.
It's not going to be very accurate this year, though, unfortunately.
No, and that's the other reason for the 3-foot recommendation is it does allow for some variation.
The other question we need to look at, Troy, and I haven't told you this, is I like land drains if we can ever get them in.
Yeah.
And that they're a foot in the ground to get them in. You gotta have an outfall.
Yeah,
And I don't know if there's anywhere to drain.
the outfall would probably be this ditch over here. The problem is
Can you get enough?
if the ditch backs up, and again, this is detail that I haven't had a chance to learn yet. But if the ditch backs up, then obviously it's backing up the land drain. And yeah, you can put flappers on them and all that kind of
No,
stuff,
we're not gonna do
but
that.
good, because they don't
They don't
work
work.
over time.
I
So,
don't wanna get
so,
a call.
so that's detail that we could potentially look at, we just aren't far enough along.
Well,
I
that's
think the next step, just to visualize further, what Troy said, a lot of these details will then come at a plat approval.
Yeah.
Yes. We spent a lot of money in the last 2 months.
But you guys, the council needs to
6
get
figures worth of money
The council
on
needs to get the look and the fill and the aesthetics and the parking requirements and the density nailed down, the zoning specific items. And then we'll get engineering done at plat level again.
So what we're basically saying is, if there's interest in the rezone, then we move to the master development agreement, which is gonna provide that design guide document and establish a lot of the parameters associated with how the project will develop. Then we've got a commitment, if those 3 things are approved, so that Stuart can work with other people to move forward with the project. And they're like, okay, it makes more sense to spend some money. Let's decide what the risks are. Troy, go do your stuff. Bring back a big list of problems and with a big list of solutions and how much do those solutions cost and so forth. And then with that number of units, the commercial square footage, potential yield, and so forth, they can sit down and work out a budget and say, does this thing even pencil? Does it even make sense for us to move forward? And that's why there's some hesitancy right now to spend a ton of money and answer all these questions because they don't know if it can even
There's
move forward.
hesitancy, but we spend a lot of money. So
Yeah.
does the city engineer have any, I'm not engineers, attorney have any comments while we're?
You've set the steps as I imagine they would be, and they have to be. So
Yeah.
I think we're there.
And there's been a lot of, why are we even doing this? And I know the citizenry are further removed, and I mean no disrespect at all. I just wanted to go through the process and try to very simply explain why are we even doing this. Because I know, Darren's very clear, well, looks to me like based on the future land use element of the general plan, you need to amend the general plan. And I say, yep, that's what anybody else would require. So it's not foreign to me, but it's just foreign to a lot of folks. Because some people have said, well, we've allowed a more dense development to be approved and we haven't amended the general plan. Well, you have good legal counsel now. Maybe you didn't have that before. I don't know how that happened before. But anyway, enough said. So here's what we're asking for. The high density residential, you can see I put in parentheses over there what it means. Now this is again, this is wording from your code, and then I just wanted to point that out. The next
R3 patio and.
Yeah, and so the next plan kind of gives a little bit more of that design guide document. Here's the R3 lot. It's a 13,000 square foot minimum, which is what's required in the code. What we're asking for is a differential from the current code. Is instead of providing 100 foot of lot frontage, we're asking for to be able to provide 85. And so it's a little bit narrower lot than we would typically see.
Still
in
allows
R3.
a 3-car garage.
But with 85, there's still enough room for a 3-car garage. Then the next step down, there's been some that have said, well, hey, I thought this was going to be patio homes. So I said, okay, if it is patio homes, here's a patio home. And it has 4 adjoined units that are conjoined. Okay, so it's a bigger structure, a little less maybe open space associated with it, but that's what a lot would look like if it were patio homes. Now over here we have individual cottage lots. There's been some references to JDC Ranch to say, well, we like the little houses. They're cute, 2-story. A young family can move in there. Everybody can see what that looks like. And this just kind of shows what cottage lots look like. And in the JDC Ranch, 4 units are connected to a private driveway. We're asking for 6. Just some of the depth and narrowness of the property. We're just asking for a little bit of a difference there.
Question.
Yeah.
What would you estimate a house on a house and those lots, on those cottage lots would be in the current market right now?
I think JDCs are going around 500,000.
If you're gonna get first home buyer funding, it's 450.
Okay.
And that, on the Nelson Homes website, that's where they say they start.
That's why we set it at 450. Is we're trying to keep inflation. Everybody said they couldn't do it. We're forcing them to do it.
What about emergency vehicles in an area like where you just were up there?
Yeah, now,
Yeah.
the 20-foot driveway would allow the width sufficient to get back there. The Weber County's probably gonna say we need some kind of a turnaround back here. We just need to get to that level of detail. And again, that's more of the site plan subdivision spot where we would submit the plan, we would meet obviously with the fire marshal and say, what kind of turnaround do you need? He's gonna say, well, you need a 100-foot diameter cul-de-sac, which is right here, that's what the fire code requires, or I need a hammerhead turnaround, which is 60 feet in 2 directions.
Stay there for a minute on that cul-de-sac.
All right.
We're gonna erase that. That's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
part of
that's
the
one
plan.
I mentioned that earlier.
What did you?
Yeah.
That goes
That's
That's
all.
toast.
Yeah, it's just a
So
square.
that's- I just wanted to give a reference that the right-of-way around here is set at 100 feet. One thing that's caused a little confusion, our roads are 60 feet in Hooper. Yep, they are. And this is showing from the back of the curb to the back of the curb, which in Hooper is 40 feet. And then there's additional park strip and sidewalk space on either side. So the property line would be this red line, and this darker line is the road. So I'm going to fix this because it's causing some confusion with folks, and I just don't want people to be confused. So I'm going to change that 40 to a 60, and then everybody can go, oh yeah, that's our 60-foot standard section for a residential street. And then for the townhome portion of the code, your current code allows 5 units to be adjoined. We're asking for 6. And again, some of the narrowness of the property and so forth, it just lays out better. But if it's like, no, I don't think 6 is what Hooper wants, then we just need to know. Okay. And then the commercial, hasn't been a lot of comment about the commercial, but I do want to point out the elephant in the room. That's the lift station that makes all of this possible. And it was originally slated to be over here and is plumbed out here in the roadway to be right here. We originally were talking about, could we put it back here? And then we, in one of our conversations with staff and so forth, and it was, well, it'll be 2 feet deeper, and the groundwater table, and we said, oh, maybe we don't want to go 2 feet deeper in the ground. So we said, what do you think right here in the parking lot? And Jared Hancock was really cute. He says, you've been around those before, right? You know what they smell like. And I said, yeah, I've been around those before. And he said, maybe you don't want that in the parking lot. So we said, well, maybe we flip this around. And I know that won't be popular with the neighbors. I'm just saying I'm maybe. But could we find a spot in the back of here to stick it? Could we find some green space right here to put it? Because now we're just running lines straight across the parking lot to get to it. Or maybe the best way to do it is still to bend and put it back here and keep it there on that. But so we still got to figure that out. But that's site plan, okay? And we're going to work with staff, and we're going to work with Jared, and we're going to work with the city engineer, and we're just going to figure out, hey, where does it work? And we're going to come in with our geotech report and say, the soils are really bad. It's going to be a huge hole to dig this wet well, and maybe because it's an open field, we can handle that. But we need to think about how we maintain it. So,
It needs to be in the parking lot.
yeah, it doesn't need to be in the parking lot, and there's some concerns about odor, but it's flexible.
If the groundwater is such, we can't move, we just put it there.
Yeah, and we'll have to figure out what we're going to do about odor and some of those concerns, but there's ways to mitigate.
So we have that lift station over at Rawson Ranch, and there's neighbors' houses that are right next, and I haven't heard that complaint yet, that there's odor. Maybe some others have, because, I've been over there quite a bit, and there's houses that are neighbor all around that, and so I don't know. I mean, Jared certainly knows more about that than I do.
And those are things that we can talk to people who live by them, we can go visit them,
Or
and
that
just
build them.
try to work through that. Again,
People that build them may have that issue, and they know how to build it.
it's something, it's a
I live
problem we
close to
need
one.
to mitigate.
I have one just below me in the park, and you don't get a smell from that. You get more smell from the manholes than you do from that.
We already deal with that.
And the Great Salt Lake.
And yeah, different smell, but still
I
bad.
almost said that in the last meeting, but I didn't want people to think I was just being facetious. But yeah, when the wind blows to the east, we all know what that smells like. And I mean, I love the Great Salt Lake. I've lived here my whole life, but it's just what it is.
Keep going.
So this is just kind of a blow up of what we wanted to present as landscaping, because there's been a concern about what's the landscaping going to be. So right now we're just saying, here's the different uses that are associated and so forth. Here's a green space area. There was a concern mentioned at the planning commission meeting. We need some amenities in there, and we just need some direction, like how big of an amenity? Do we want a pavilion, and how big do we want the pavilion to be? And do we want a top lot space, and how big do we want it to be? Do we want it to have 2 slides or 3 swings? And yeah, and then we can work on cost, and that's what we just need to know size so that we can get to cost. And then we can go from there. But what this is just showing is street trees and so forth for the residential
Is there
area.
a bottom to that so they can see the whole thing, or is
We'll-
it just?
We'll get there. It's just trying to take it in bites. It's hard to eat an elephant all at one time. And so here's some pictures from JDC, as well as some pictures. One of the planning commission members had said, hey, and I grew up the street from Blake Severing when I was a kid, and so I know his parents, and he said, you know where mom lives, and anyway, long story short, the patio homes are like these, and that are in that neighborhood, and we just wanted to show, hey, in Darla Severing's neighborhood, that's what the yards look like.
What square footage are one of them roughly? You'd
They're,
estimate
they're about 3,700. They're pretty good
good
size.
sized house.
Yeah, and anyway, these are from the JDC Ranch. Here's a picture of what was at the park. Here's a tot lot area from the park. Now, please keep in mind, JDC is huge compared to our little 50 acres. And when you go over and walk 50 acres, trust me, it's huge. I
Well,
walked
it's
the whole
not
thing.
50 when you talk about residential.
Yeah, it's only 26 when you talk about residential. So it's not as huge as JDC, so scale needs to be taken into consideration. That's why we don't have a 3-acre park, we have a 1-acre park. because we're trying to drive
Number
on
of
scale.
residents.
Yeah. So anyway, this is just what some of the yards could look like in the residential housing. And this is a pretty typical, what we were referring to as a cottage home.
And one thing you maybe missed on the, as we talked about the amendment of the general plan, is if you're gonna do, again, higher density in most areas or, apartments or three-story walk-ups, we're not, and that rumor's out there, so I worry about saying high density because people can misunderstand it. The highest density here is a townhome.
Yep.
But the reason it fits is you usually try to buffer the commercial with that. So that's why a general plan amendment actually makes sense here. Because now you figured out where the commercial is, because the general plan showed it all up and down the street. You locate it, and then after you locate it, you can change your general plan to reflect where it's located. So that's the logic behind it. I think everybody knows that, that's why we're here.
Here's the commercial portion, and there were some comments to the planning commission. We just wanted to kind of say, okay, we fill in with some trees. These green areas, please don't be concerned about that. We're proposing those to be like shrub planters, not sod. We would come in with a rock mulch and have drip irrigation systems, try to be pretty water wise.
Sod is pretty much behind us.
Yeah, so we're past sod, and I just didn't want somebody to think, well, they showed all that green on there, they want to do a bunch of grass.
The landscaping will be probably similar to Queso. Should we look at it?
Yeah, I would say
If you
so.
want to see something besides a picture.
It's rock mulch at West Point as well, so that's very similar. Okay. Now, one of the residents said, maybe help me knock him off the house. How do I get him over there? Got to go the other way, maybe. Here, let's go over this way. There we go. So these are cart corrals, and there was a concern about, I don't think we want to have a big black paved parking lot. Well, we could, if there's some interest, and again, getting that direction, tree diamonds. That'd be the first step we'd go, and we'd have a 6x6 little diamond right here where we plant a tree. And maybe, well, we don't want tree diamonds. We want landscape islands in the parking lot. We're just looking for direction to establish that design guideline. And that's kind of where we're at. I did want to talk a little bit about photometrics because there's been some concerns there with lighting. This is a typical fuel center lighting plan, and I'm not going to make it hard, I promise. What these little numbers here show is the number of foot candles underneath the canopy.
That's how bright it is.
It's the brightness. And over in this area where they overlap, you'll see there's like a 58 right there. And so that's the brightest that the light would be. Now I'm going to show you a picture of one at night, and then it's going to look a lot brighter because my phone, the way it picks up the lighting. But I just wanted to point this out. Now, this is a fuel canopy in Bluffdale. It's been constructed. It was built about 2 years ago. And these light poles, the mounting height is 37.5 feet. I'm going to show you a picture of that too. Now, the light pole itself is 35 feet tall. And then it sits on a pole base that's 2.5 feet tall. Okay? So mounting height means how high above the finished ground is that fixture. And it becomes really important in just a second. Now that's all you need to know to be able to work with me on a photometric plan. Now, this is taken from the separated grade interchange. My wife dropped me off and said, I can't believe we're going to get hit by a car trying to take this picture. And it is the fuel canopy in Bluffdale, and you can see how much brighter it is under the canopy than it is out here in the parking lot. And that brightness, for security reasons, we have outside sales underneath this canopy. You can come get we'll just say an energy drink because I don't know what they're called. But you can get a Rockstar, that one came, or you can get a Pepsi or whatever you want, whatever your drink of flavor of choice is. They just have some different outdoor display areas where you can open a door. This is the window that you would come up to. There's a little drawer, just like when you go to the old style credit union. They don't make them like that anymore, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we all see it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're past all that. There is that light pole that's 37.5 feet tall. This canopy is only 20 feet tall. And so there's been a lot of concern about, well, I don't know what kind of light pole to tell them to put in and so forth. And what we're suggesting, and what we've been talking to Malcolm about is, let's just have a light pole that's not taller than the building. And then the parking lot lights, if I live behind the store, then I don't have a light pole that's sticking way up above the height of the facility, okay? So I just wanted you to be able to see that.
So
This-
the light poles to the left there, they're kind of like that.
Yeah.
You
This,
see those two?
you can see, let me back up real quick. This is the street light. Now these are a lot like yours. Yours just have a shorter arm right there. And so that gives you an idea of like your own street light's about 19 feet tall. And so we're asking, or we're going to propose 25 feet as the pole height, which really means the mounting height would be 27 and a half, if we can do that.
10-foot poles.
Yeah. So just wanted to show you those.
It
And
means we have to build more of them.
yeah, that's the bottom line. And that's really what this
More
is.
costly to us.
Stuart's just going faster than, because he wants me to get through all this. But he's like, you're boring, I'm Troy. This is the parking lot lighting plan for West Point, and these light poles are 44 feet tall, and so they are spaced about 150 to 200 feet apart, and a 25-foot mounting height means they're going to be closer to 100 feet, maybe 125 feet apart. So there will be more light poles, but they'll be shorter so that a person can look over the top of them or that kind of thing. They'd be blocked by the building. Now, on the building, there are going to be what are called wall pack lights, but they're only 15 feet tall. So they're well down on the wall to provide just the lighting around the close proximity to the building. And I'm talking about the grocery anchor, but that's pretty consistent. This is your street light that I was referring to over here. And then this is just some stuff on site lighting, but if you're comfortable with that, the 25-foot light pole means it has a 27.5-foot mounting height.
This is in the development agreement, so you're requiring this of us.
I haven't put it
Haven't
in,
put it
it's not in there yet, but it will be. I was looking for this kind of direction.
So you're looking to put it in, that's what you're doing.
And I think based on the conversation with Malcolm is we would do a 22.5-foot pole, have the light be at 25, because the shortest part of the grocery anchor is 26 feet tall. The light poles will just be a foot under the height of the building. Now there's going to be pop-ups where it goes up a little taller, but the shortest part of the building would be a foot lower. So that's the idea. Around the perimeter, there was some concern about light going across the property line and so forth, and we had recommended possibly going a little shorter. There'd be a 20-foot pole on a 2.5-foot base with a mounting height of 22.5 feet. Here's the exterior of the building, and again, if you don't like what's here, tell us what you do.
This was done for Eagle Mountain. They wanted a rural building, so it has a totally different look for Spruce.
There's only two of these. One's in Gilbert, Arizona, and there's one going to be in Eagle Mountain.
Yeah,
And
it'd be nice if we had a pic of the one that they built it yet in Gilbert.
no, it has a little bit different stone and different things on the outside. And Eagle Mountains is a little bit different. Eagle Mountain has a theme of the Pony Express, so some of you that have been out to the West Desert have seen those structures. They're built out of stones, and they just wanted to have some stone that matched that type of architecture for you.
It has more of a taken on a rural barn. You see the
And we were told along quite a few meetings ago that there's some interest, would somebody object to if we had a wagon wheel and a hitching post? And so I went back to Smith's and I said, I think we ought to take the Gilbert, Arizona plan. And so that's what we're presenting. But you may say, we don't want Arctic white board and batten, which
we're
would
a
be
long ways away from
along
that.
here, but
Yeah.
Okay. We're trying to get a
but this would be in the development agreement.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to represent that if you want this, you've got to tell us now. And it's going to be in the development agreement, and that's step 3. That's the most important part of getting this thing done. Here's what the fuel center would look like. And just to give you an idea of that, it's very similar. Sorry, the picture was blurry, but it was taken at night. I want to show you.
How many pumps?
This would be, I got to go back to the 7. This is a 7 MPD, but let me jump back here to make sure.
Speculate, I don't know, the estimate.
I can tell you exactly.
16.
6.
So there's 6.
Not from you.
It's 6. There's 12 fueling stations. It's going to be 6, 8, 7. It's a 7 MPD.
Because you got your
So it's the same as what's in the picture. Sorry, I just wasn't sure. So it's gonna be, that's a 7 MPD. There's 3 on this side, 1 in front of the kiosk, and there's 4 over there.
Yeah, so go,
This is my Smith's, by the way, it's right behind me.
so go a little more.
So anyway, that's just what it
That's
looks
it
like
right
in a
there.
clear picture.
7 pumps.
7 product dispensers, 14 fueling stations.
Two on
There
one
is
side.
only
of the
2
convenience
off.
station.
It's a good guess, Larry.
Good guess, yes.
Okay. This would be just a proposed architecture for the outbuildings on the pads. And again, what Malcolm had asked is, hey, can you just show us the percentage of the material? So we added those couple of notes in there to get that in. Signage, we have a signage plan that is now in the development agreement for your review. The proximity to the new roadway that's going to be built, the West Weaver corridor, this is a very tall sign trying to reach out to those folks on that roadway. It's 50 feet tall. To give you an idea of what it looked like at night or what it looked like in the daytime. And that would be out on,
Can you go right back up that signage, site
Oh,
plan?
yeah.
Layout? Thanks.
that would be out on the main front here.
So it'd be on the entry road in.
Yeah, it's right down here is where we're
Oh,
currently
that
proposing. Now, it could be over here. I don't think at this stage we're too emotionally tied to that. So.
One of the 2 corners.
Will that gas changer sign be on that also or separate?
It would be on it, up at the top where the Anchor
Okay.
logo would go.
So I think our code calls out for a sign in these PUD zones. There's gonna be signs in the greater development. Is there an interest for a monument looking sign in the PUD zone to name it and have it there? Just a
I
thought.
don't know if there's an interest, but if it's a requirement.
Yeah,
The ones we've seen after a while, nobody cares what they're called. This is just where I live.
So, the sign plan, maximum 50 feet high, what would your preference be on height? That sounds awful tall to me.
So this would be on 55, and then over on 47, it's a 30-foot tall sign.
How tall is the one here? Sorry. go
This
back.
this one's 50, and this one up for 4,700 would be 30. And again, we have to start somewhere, so we put that up. And that was what, if you go to the new Smith store that was just opened in Lehigh, these signs, you could actually see them on the road. They've been built. Yes.
What's the ones at West Point? That's closer.
Given the location in Lehigh, I'd like to go.
The ones in West Point are a little bit shorter. I bet they're not more than 30 feet. I can bring you the pictures of those.
30 or 35, right?
That sounds more appealing to me, I would tell you that right off the top. 50
I can
foot
show
looks
you.
like a long
Those
ways
are tall.
away.
Those are tall signs for sure from other things I've done. So 30 seems pretty reasonable.
The signs.
I understand the height. You do want to have a good sign for
yes,
tenants.
yeah.
We have a lot of tenants in this development. There's a lot of buildings, and you do want good signage that helps promote
Yeah.
the.
Oh, I understand that.
Could we do a separate gas?
What we
Sign.
would, if the interest would be to go shorter, let me just throw this
Yeah,
out
sure.
there. The idea would be, can we just take some of the space off the legs? But we want to, because of trying to get to a power center, we're really interested in having a signage for those tenants, but that's obviously a landlord decision as well.
So we maybe just pull the legs down a little bit.
Yeah, the Kaysville Smiths and the West Point Smiths have exactly the same sign, just the name of the shopping center is the only thing different.
Same height.
Yep.
Yeah, you go look at those.
Yeah, I wonder where.
This would be a little monument sign that we'd have out in front of the fuel center in addition to the 2 pricing signs on the taller pylons.
And we may want something like that. There's a monument sign, especially the West tenants. If they need some.
So now you've seen all the signs, let me go back to the plan.
They're usually very well received by any city.
So I've been out to look at some Smiths. I haven't even paid no attention to the signs. Now I got to go back and look and see what they look like.
Well, that just tells you how invisible they really are.
Yeah.
We got 15, so let's keep going.
Okay, that's all I really have, which are the basic exhibits. We still owe you a photometric plan, and we owe you an outdoor storage plan. And if I can jump, I'll just jump back to our site plan. Because most of you that have been to a Smith store know that along the front sidewalk, they just like to put windshield wiper fluid out there. And there's a lime tree that my wife tells me I should spend $30 to buy every time we go there. And a few things like that. So there's some patio furniture and different things. And so that's what they're asking for by outdoor storage. They might want to ask about, can we put a tent out here and sell some fireworks, or, I know that's kind of a bad connotation with this year being so dry, but sometimes they wanna have a little parking lot sale or a case lot sale or something like
When
that.
they bring their food truck, we kind of, our tenants don't like that.
Yeah. So, and then the parking corrals, we can show you what those look like if you have an interest. One city wanted to see the picture of that. Just, again, we're looking for, can you establish some, like, again, one question that was asked is, how tall is the fence?
Let's open it up for questions.
Okay, sounds great. Like, because we need to know, how tall do you want the fence to be?
Well, and
Is there a fencing code?
we.
Yeah, we have a land use separation
So
fence requirement.
go look at the one in Kaysville. It's, what we've done is, the taller, when you get a fence too tall, you feel like you're in prison, you're on the other
Yep.
side. It really hasn't.
Back of Kaysville
Negative
berms up a
effect.
few feet.
I think Kaysville's is, I don't know what it is.
It's about 4 feet, I guess, 5.
No,
That's been a
no,
few years
no,
ago.
the fence.
Oh, the fence is 6.
Six.
The fence is 6.
Yeah,
The-
but it
the
feels
property-
more like, feels
yeah.
more like 8 because we burned it.
Because, yeah, the property behind the Kaysville Smiths is higher than the Smith store. And as a result of that, we were able to slope the ground down in front of it.
What does the council want to see worked on? It's going to come to you
I
quickly.
already have some concerns about open space, I will tell you that.
Oh, I didn't talk about that, and I wanted to. Can I help resolve those concerns?
Yes.
So we have the park area, we've got the detention basin area. We'd really like to see if we could just get creative on how open space is calculated. If the front yards of the residential homes could be considered in the open space.
They normally are.
That's just where we're trying to look at, okay, we gotta, open space really isn't, well, maybe it is defined under the current code. What we were trying to bring, because the planning commission members said the same thing, Blake came to me after, Commissioner Severin, I should be more respectful. He came to me after and he said, you don't have enough open space. And I said, well, really, we kind of do. We've got about 50%, we're bringing you commercial instead of 40% open space that your current code requires. So we're hoping that that would be looked at differently.
And we'd like to try to do, again, some type of site grading. It would be nice if we could combine the detention basin with the park and make that a little bigger.
I'm anticipating we're gonna need some fill here to make this work.
That's not a good word.
Yeah, it's not, no. But we need to get into that a little bit. There's a lot of dirt burned in different places and we gotta figure out how much there is. So open space is another one. Could we count the front yards? Can we, again, aggregate the 2 detention basins together, things like that? Try to get a little more creative and have it be more than, say, the 4 or 5% we've shown because we only have an acre. So it's like 1 divided by 50 if we're gonna look at it that way. Or does the open space only apply to the residential, which would then be 1 divided by about 25?
So I'll be on the other side of that. I went and got the general plan, and we're well over the open space that the general plan asks for right now. It says 6 to 12. We're at about 10.6 with what you're saying people are bringing in here.
Oh, okay.
We would really only need and the projection of people in 2040 shows that we would need a half acre of green space in this development to equal that 6 to 12. That would be on the low side. It'd be at 6. I mean, we also, all these parks we have to maintain, or open space, we've got to pay people to take care of it. And we are, with what they've got there, we would be, if you count the detention basin, then we're going to be just over that 6. So I'm just throwing this out.
Detail, is that an HOA maintained little pocket park, or is that a city
It could be.
maintained? I don't think we've talked
we-
about that.
So we'd have to walk through it.
I think one thing in the same line of thought
But
with
if you
open space.
can't, the problem you've got with the HOA maintained anything is if you 75 acres and you have 200 units a home, you can maintain open space. But when you have 20 acres of ground and you've got to put that on to each homeowner, they get really upset. I've heard them when they're paying their taxes, and then they're also paying to maintain
Maintain the park.
their own park.
And
And the park's bigger than what their project, you know, is a bigger park. I just hear it all the time, so you gotta be careful that you've gotta proportionately size this, or you're gonna get people that are feeling like they're subsidizing the city, and then eventually they come to the city and get you to take it over.
people generally do not like HOAs.
So, I've seen that happen. Anyway, keep going.
Well, I think if the retention basin is closer, is like attached to the open space, that would be huge, because we have, like, there's a retention basin up by my house, and it makes no sense whatsoever, because it's 20 feet away from the drain ditch that it would drain into, and I don't even know why we didn't just dump the water into the drain ditch rather than making a retention basin that serves no purpose. Just, it makes me crazy every time I drive by. It's like,
We
no,
talked
put a
about
pipe
that
out to
too,
the
though,
ditch.
getting rid of detention basins.
Most of
see if
them
there's
do
a
not hold
ditch
water.
for them to be
Yeah,
able
that's,
to
I mean, this one's just silly as far as.
Speaking my language. I like
Well,
that.
It'd be a lot easier to make a nice flat green space than a.
I think in the same line of thought as green space, functionality is important. It'd be nice to see, I don't know how you think we can make some connectivity throughout this to make it a little more walkable potentially. I mean, there'll be sidewalk anticipated and
I
then,
can show you walkways.
yeah, I don't know if we could have a walkway, some walkways, I think those could go a long ways and they wouldn't, you know, require a lot of green space, but it adds some, and then any amenities, and that's where the council would really have to give you direction. I don't know what that park looks like and I don't. it's not
Well,
my-
that's with the green subdivision, they
Yeah,
have.
but I think the
they-
park could be.
They look really cool.
Rather
They
than
look
a larger
really
park, do we have something on the park that really makes it worth, you know, having the park?
And the planning, the conversation the planning commission had is, they're like, green field is nice, but I think we need something better. And so I think you're gonna hear that recommendation.
You
anyway.
don't have the space to realistically to make it better than Greenfields, because Greenfields has, I don't know, 100 acres of residential probably.
Yeah, that's,
I could pull it up, but yeah, you're not dealing with anything that size, so I mean, they have less. I mean, they got a fish pond and everything else, so that ain't gonna fit here.
What you have right there is probably nicer than what you put in a subdivision.
More questions, because we only got a couple of minutes here, so I'd like to
I
get.
think I've got all mine answered.
I mean, I think we spent an hour completely in the weeds, to be honest with you. There's such major questions that go with this development agreement that haven't even been touched on right now, that we could take the next 3 hours and go over this development agreement line by line and have a million questions. I mean, I'll just start with the financing. You know, section 5 of the developer's agreement talks about, it says the city shall provide to the developer by means of bonding or other revenue sources funds to pay for the development of public infrastructure related to the project. So the city is responsible for the funding of this project and the the infrastructure. Why is the developer not responsible for any buy-in whatsoever when it comes to infrastructure? Why is the city on the hook for all of it?
we've changed that and.
Well, that's not what this says right here.
I appreciate that because that's what's in your packet and
We
that
had
had to
a-
be sent to you a week ago.
I've had Cody Dieter review it and Rob Stamp, and they provided a recommendation.
So, like, because that's been mentioned
That'd be
specifically.
a nice thing, but we're gonna put the sewer and water in to finance all the improvements, so I don't know, that may be in the development agreement. I think that that's in there for, it's
Well,
probably dealing
it was
with.
in there.
It's been changed?
Dealing with the.
5.1, yep, there
It
you go.
was in there because that, we were looking for
Oversized
direction.
utilities.
We now have the direction. And the direction is, if the city's gonna participate in this project at all, it'll be by a separate agreement, which will be known as a participation agreement or some other funding agreement. And right now, the developer would be responsible to build the improvements.
Yeah, but some of that, you've got the sewer lift station, and we don't know what oversized improvements are even in 5,500. And we just probably need to sit down and figure out what the city wants to do. But as you do the CRA, what you don't want to do is restrict the city council from being able to do things that they want to do by being restricted with what you put into the agreement. Does that make sense?
So Rob sent,
You may have something you want to do that is beyond the sewer station.
is this referencing what they call post-performance payment to the developer with the CRA? That's what Rob Sant recommended with the West Point and the Kaysville.
That's yeah,
Could be some, again, reimbursement.
Did you
or
take,
participation.
this is new, we worked on this, I got you right, did you take Rob's, is this Rob's
This is
exact?
the exact words. We were.
Well, that's Rob, Brian, I don't know, I just, like, I hit Rob and, Cody, I say, do section 5, what you're gonna recommend, so I think we're paying Rob and Cody, right, if we want, what they recommend is, I'm assuming is what the council's gonna do. That's what you guys,
so the
like
project,
it, or at least at minimum.
I'm reading a version that I got before this
Yeah,
one that I did
fair,
not
yeah, and
get,
this is
so
it.
I had no idea.
Has that packet gone out to everybody then?
so
No,
that's
I
good.
don't have
This is
But
brand
it's
new
good,
because
it's
we
good
just got
input,
this
because
information.
we're getting it, so thank you.
So this will go to the planning commission, and then from the planning commission, this will come to you as a new agreement.
So there are project improvements which we will put in, that's the curb and gutter and sidewalk in front of all the homes, all the, the normal asphalt, the road base. But then there are system or community improvements. That would be like a water tank or a sewer treatment plant. Typically subdivisions don't build those, or they don't build sewer lift stations that benefit a large area of the city, because it's not fair for those few homes to be able to take that on. So that's what is, there'll be community assets, I suppose, that probably will do.
This was equally as agitating to the planning commission members, and so we got the direction we were looking for, and it's now been included. And I apologize that we got the information, we just had to get this in the packet, we didn't have the information yet, so that's why you don't see
Keep
it
going, more
tonight.
questions, those are good ones, that's a really good question.
The other thing is the land use map. I mean, we've had this land use map for our general plan since the beginning of the city, 25 years, and now it seems like a developer's walking in the door and saying, we're going to add section D and section E to our land use map just specifically for our development, rather than following our current ordinances. I mean, take for example the R3 zoning. You guys are coming in here saying, hey, we want to change the frontage from our current ordinance of 100 feet to 85 feet. We want to change the PUD from 40% open space to, we're going to give you some commercial. Or we're going to change this to this, and we're going to add a D and an E that doesn't even exist in our current land use map. And I feel like the Planning Commission and the City Council and the public is responsible for creating the general plan and the land use map, not the developer. The developer should not walk in the door and say, we've got a D and an E that's going to be put on our land use map. That's our decision.
So we're
Brian,
getting,
what was the frontage on I don't know, I'm asking, third acre lots? Because
Before.
we do have third acre lots, what was it? I know half acre were 100. So was third acre 100 or were they 85?
They're both 100.
They
so
were
what,
both of them
so
were
what
100.
we're getting is a little bit of conflicting direction, which is happens. But you went up and saw a project that, which was a destination, it was Nelson Homestead, and you said we'd like it to look like that, and so we come back, and so we're following that direction, and everybody, and there may be some that want it to look like that, there may be others that don't. We understand different opinions, but
I'm just saying,
so to respond to your thought is, there's two reasons for the change. One is you finally located your commercial, and if you're gonna do, patio homes and those type of things, they probably fit better, walkable next to the commercial. So we're asking for those variants. There's some change in the master plans, and we're trying to match the project you've seen, because you like kind of the fill-up.
and that's kind of a feeling a lot of us have talked about on the council is we like patio homes. We have a patio home development over here on the south side.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's been a fantastic neighborhood. It's a 55 plus community, granted, but it's what we feel fit for our city. It was the patio homes. These townhomes and these cottage lots, that's a whole new concept to me and a lot of people. And so it's going to take some, I don't know if I'll ever be convinced that's the right thing to do above a patio lot or a patio home.
But we're putting those smaller ones in to be able to get our kids and grandchildren.
At
be able-
$500,000 a piece.
Well, when I bought my first home for $40,000, 45 years ago, people thought that was an outrageous price.
So that brings up another thing about the rental clause. Is there a rental clause that prevents rentals in the first 10 years of ownership?
Enforcement seems to be what we're down to. Who's going to enforce that? The request was make the HOA do it, and there's been some concern about the HOA's ability to legally do that. But yes, there is language provided, and it was language suggested by the city.
So we just need to look through and get an attorney to help us. Okay?
Thank you, we're out of time. You could have.
We need legal advice on that one.
Thank you for coming.
If you have more questions, let's get them in an email.
Lots of questions.
Yes. Let's get them all lined up and we can send them to them.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming out.
Hey, they're working on over there in Cape Town 1800. They're working over there. I understand.
You can do it on
Recording in progress.
We would like to welcome you to the Hooper City Council meeting. It is Thursday, August 20th. I am Sherry Bingham, I'm the mayor, and I will be conducting this meeting. We are going to go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Rappaletto, and then we will have a reverence by Councilmember Hill.
Everyone, please repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful to be gathered together tonight as a city and as a city council. We're grateful for our community and where we live. We're grateful for the freedoms we enjoy. Thankful for those who serve in the armed forces and ask a blessing upon them, protection upon them and their families. We're grateful for the constitution of this great land we live in and ask that it will be guarded and protected, and those who lead this country and the communities therein, that they will be wise and good stewards of this valuable information and this inspired document we've been given. Father, we're grateful for our council and ask a blessing upon each of us that will be inspired and directed to say the things that are proper and be able to counsel one with another. We're grateful for the opportunity to serve and for the freedoms, again, that we enjoy. We're grateful for all we have. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you. We're going to, just want to tell you a little bit about some upcoming events. We have our Hooper Tomato Days. It starts on August 31st with our community dinner. And it's a dinner and a dance, and there's activities for the children. All Hooper residents should be getting this within the next couple of days. It's the newsletter that comes out, and it's really handy for you to have because it has all of the schedule of Hooper Tomato Days is going to be. So make sure you hang on to this so you know what time and those events are going to be. So the next thing we have on our agenda are public comments. If you would like to make a public comment, please come up to the microphone, state your name. You will have 3 minutes. Our city recorder, Morgan, will direct you when your time, she gives you a 1 minute, and then when your time is up. And we would ask you, if you see it come up that says your time is up, if you would please stop at that time.
Sorry, can I just make a correction? It's a 3-minute time, not 1 minute.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. 3-minute time.
My name is Paige Tudor. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm here tonight speaking for our kids and the families who are simply asking for a reasonable opportunity to practice in the community where they live. We understand the city has a responsibility to protect our parks, especially during drought conditions. We support responsible water conservation, and we aren't asking for unlimited access or asking the city to ignore concerns about the field. Mayor Bingham has offered 1 day per week for practice, and we appreciate the willingness to compromise. However, 1 day a week is not a reasonable solution for kids who are still expected to play games every week. Football is a contact sport. These kids need time to safely learn tackling, blocking, conditioning, and proper technique. That is why we are asking for 3 days per week, approximately an hour and a half each day, while rotating practice areas to minimize wear. We're willing to work with the city, but I also think it's important to acknowledge how we got here. Signs were placed throughout the park stating water conservation in effect, followed by no organized sports. We understand the need to conserve water, but residents deserve clarification on how prohibiting organized practices reduces the city's water usage. If the concern is field wear, then let's address field wear directly. Rotating practice areas, limiting time, and temporary closures of areas that need recovery. The signs also state that organized athletic activities are prohibited, yet to our knowledge this restriction was not brought before the City Council for public discussion or a vote, and we have been unable to locate a formally adopted ordinance prohibiting organized youth sport practices in our parks. If we're mistaken, we welcome that clarification, but when a restriction affects as many families and community members, there should be transparency about the policy and how that decision was made. I want to be clear, I cannot control what other people say, post, or how they respond to the situation, but I speak for myself and the families I represent tonight. I'm not here to create division or attack you. I'm here because our kids need a reasonable place to practice, and I believe we can support them while protecting our parks. The parks were created to serve the community, and youth sports are part of that community. They bring families together, teach our kids teamwork, responsibility, commitment, and perseverance. For some of our kids, having an accessible field here matters. Some walk or ride their bikes because their parents are working. Simply telling teams to go somewhere else doesn't mean every child can get there. We don't believe the city has to choose between protecting our parks, supporting our kids. We can do both. We're not asking you tonight to decide who is right or wrong and how we got here. We're asking you to help decide where we go from here. Give these kids 3 days a week, let us rotate our practice areas, give us reasonable guidelines, and hold us accountable for following them. If there are concerns, then let's try for the remainder of the season and evaluate the condition of the field afterwards. 3 days, responsible use, rotating areas, and accountability. We believe that's a reasonable compromise and shows these kids that when there's a challenge, our community is willing to work together to find a solution. Thank you.
Bryce Wilcox, Hooper residents. I agree 100% with Paige. As far as I know, only half the city council was involved in that, where I think the whole city council should have been involved in it. Some of my fondest memories as a kid was playing Little League football. There's no reason why Hooper City shouldn't accommodate these children. It's ridiculous. The other thing I wanted to comment on, I know the Terra Strata deal is a big issue right now. I would just caution you that any type of creative financing is going to be bad for our city. If you look at the impact study, it's going to take us several years before we make any money. And I bet everything that the school district, the fire district, within a matter of a couple years, maybe 5, maybe 10, they're going to back out because they're going to want their money. And we're going to be left with the bag. So I'm not opposed to the Smiths. I'm a little concerned about the high density housing. However, as a city, you guys need to protect us and our money. It's not your money. It's not Stuart Adams. He's the one that made all the rules. So don't get backed up by him in a corner and make him call the shots. You guys call the shots. Do what's best for the city and for the citizens, long term, not just short term. Oh, we get a Smiths, we're going to get money. Yeah, we will, but it's going to take time. You just don't get it like that. Our sheriff's fee is going to go up. Our wages are going to, our employees are going to have more time spent there in that area, maintaining the roads. So be wise about the development. I'm not opposed against development, but just be wise about it. Anyway, thanks.
Mayor, City Council, my name's Ashley Lum, Hooper resident, taxpayer, most importantly, representing Westville tonight. I'm a football player. My son is directly affected by this decision, and I strongly disagree with these restrictions from practicing at Hooper North Park. I understand we're in a drought, and we need to take care of our parks. I've personally been on the fields every day, drive by them every day. The picture that's being painted that our kids are destroying them, I don't agree with. And we aren't asking for unlimited access. We offer to work with the city. We want to work with the city so that everybody's supported, just for a reasonable schedule. We offered to pay to use the park. We were turned down. There was no communication up front of, we got a first come, first serve. Now we have nowhere to go with our boys. We didn't ask Hooper City to fund our program, but also a lot of these boys are Hooper City residents, and we have no recreation programs for them, so we have to go to other cities. So for my son's sake and everybody else, where are they supposed to go? What do you want them to do? You know, we don't have the access or the support to support them. So we've asked for a couple of days a week, a couple of months at any given time. The other issue is we want these boys to go to Westfield or Roy or wherever they go, but they only can get better and play on high school teams if they practice and learn from their mistakes, the teamwork, the dedication. Because high school players, let's be real, they don't just wake up and decide to play football today. So we need a question like, what do we do with our boys before they even put on a jersey? What are we showing them if we can't work together as a community to support them and give them something besides electronics to do? I don't think the park's being misused. If there's something to prove us different, we're not asking to use, we can rotate or do whatever we need to do. That's it.
My name is Brooke Wilcox, and I would like to read a letter that I wrote. It says, "Dear Mayor and members of Hooper City, I am also speaking today as both a parent and a citizen who believes that our community has responsibility to invest in its children. The decision to restrict our youth football program from practicing at Hooper Civic Center is deeply concerning. We understand the importance of maintaining those fields, but there has to be a balance between protecting grass and giving the kids a safe place to play. I've done a little bit of homework, and I've looked into the condition and the size of these fields with the number and ages of our players, the hours that they practice, and how our coaches rotate drills and spread the players throughout the fields. The research that I've done does not support the idea that this level of youth football should destroy these fields. Normal wear is not destruction, and it can be managed through rotation, aeration, reseeding, watering, and routine maintenance. I also have photographs from the last 3 years that I brought with me if you'd like to see over the football season, and the grass this year actually appears to be in better condition than previous years. We have even offered our own money to help treat and maintain the grass. We're not asking to be part of the problem, we're just asking to be part of the solution, because these aren't just football practices. These boys are learning discipline, accountability, teamwork, leadership, and what it means to show up for one another. Youth sports gives them community, structure, mentorship, and a place to belong. These kids are not a burden. They are doing exactly what we want our kids to do. getting outside, working hard, listening to coaches, and being part of something positive. So let's find a solution, rotate areas, adjust schedules, reseed the high-use areas, and let us help. I invite every single one of you to come to a practice and watch these boys work. Meet the coaches and the families and see for yourself what these 2 hours mean for these boys, because I know firsthand what they can mean. I grew up in a household where my mom was addicted to meth and my dad was an alcoholic. Sports was my only escape, and it was my safe place. For these few hours, I had somewhere to go, people who expected me to show up and something positive to belong to. And when I look at these boys, I know some of them are carrying these things that we absolutely know nothing about. For one child, football may simply be something that he loves. For another, those 2 hours may be the safest 2 hours of his entire day. And I know that because I was once that kid. A field can be reseeded, a field can be repaired, and a field can be maintained, but we cannot give these years back to these kids. It's so much more than just grass. Our kids deserve a place to play, and these kids are worth investing in. Thank you.
I guess I'll say something. I just feel like I showed up because...
State your name.
My name's Brian Geisler.
Okay, thank you.
I just feel like for me, if I'm going to put something on social media, I should at least come and show my face and be willing to say it in person as well. That doesn't happen as much nowadays, but I'll just read what I wrote. I just said that the city had a choice between protecting blades of grass and our kids using the park we pay for with our taxes, and the city chose grass over the kids. One question I have is that if we're so concerned about protecting the grass, Hooper Tomato Days is great, obviously, but that's August 31st through September 7th, and we're going to have thousands of people all over the grass, trampling the grass. If we're really concerned about the grass, and if that is the issue, is protecting the grass during drought conditions, then why are we still, why is it okay that we have Hooper Tomato Days, but it's not okay that the kids have a place to practice? And again, I mean no offense by this at all, but I just think that it's ironic that, we start this meeting with a prayer, and I think that's great, but I think that if the intention behind that, and there's Christian beliefs behind that, I just don't see that, if we're looking at something from that perspective, that there's no way that the kids would be kicked off the grass there. And the other thing too is I just say thank God that other cities and other city councils are letting these kids play somewhere else away from here. Otherwise, they would have nowhere to play. So I think, like was mentioned as well, I mean, with kids nowadays as well, like, spending time inside and in front of their screens, like, this is a good thing. So I think it's just, and again, it's just frustrating on my side. I'm sure that there's, reasons and explanations, but the explanation that was given, I guess, just doesn't make sense. So, anyway.
Hello, my name is John Beck. I appreciate the opportunity of coming up here and speaking with the Mayor and City Council tonight. I missed the initial part of the City Council opening because I assisted in responding to an emergency in Hooper as I was driving over here, and an occupied vehicle that was recklessly spinning in circles with the driver in the front seat. So Weaver County Deputy was lucky to be close and help in assisting that vehicle and stopping and getting that driver who was unconscious medical attention. I'm here tonight because the city's decision to restrict organized youth sports, especially football, from our parks is directly moving our children and families from the very space that those parks were built for. This policy is not about making the fields maintenance or water use, or whether our children are allowed to gather and play or grow in their community. I understand that every decision involves balancing competing priorities, understand that maintaining our parks costs money, and recognize the severity of the drought Utah is facing. Those are legitimate concerns. Many of us have sacrificed our own homes and lawns to conserve water. But Mayor, City Council asked to consider something even more valuable than grass, our children. The decision to prohibit organized sports, mainly football, from practicing in our parks has driven children and families out of the public space intended for their use. Please think about those words. You're driving children and families out of your parks. These aren't kids vandalizing our parks, causing problems. They're children and families looking for a safe place where young people can work hard, build friendships, and learn positive attitudes from mentors. Youth sports aren't simply games. They're one of the best investments a community can make in its children. Research constantly associates youth sports and physical activity with better physical health, academic achievement, social connection, confidence, resilience, teamwork, and leadership. But I don't know this from research. I spent 14 years as a law enforcement officer, 6 of which were in Weber County, 4 of which were on Weber County SWAT teams serving members of Hooper. I've met countless adults who can still remember the coaches who changed their lives. That football field isn't grass. It's where kids learn accountability. It's where they learn to work through adversity instead of quitting. It's where they build friendships instead of sitting alone behind a screen at home. It's where they spend 2 hours with positive coaches and teammates, coaches who volunteer their time freely, instead of 2 hours looking somewhere else to belong. That's why I was so disappointed to hear the suggestions that our children don't need to organize sports until high school. By the time their kids reach high school, they're just beginning to teach discipline, work ethic, teamwork, confidence, and perseverance. Those foundations should already have been built by the time they get there. I made a comment online about free scientific data that is, I work as a cop with the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food, and I know the services that they can provide to cities in assisting them with evaluating their grass, moisture content, compactness, and other things like pH. There are many opportunities that the City Council has that do not cost money, do not impact the city's budget, and will give scientific data to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments before we move on? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is a motion, which is approval of the minutes dated July 16th, 2026. Did everyone look through those minutes? Do you have any corrections? One question I had was, it said David Craig was on Zoom, but I believe he was here. He gave the prayer, but I wondered, does anybody remember? I thought David was here in person. Did he do the prayer on Zoom? Okay, so that's the only thing correction I could see. It just said David Craig, City Council Zoom, and I believe he was here in person. Do any of you see any other corrections to the minutes? No? If there's not any other corrections then, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of, June, what was the date?
July 16th.
July 16th.
Okay, the motion was made by Councilmember Hancock. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
The second is made by Councilmember Fowers. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Okay, the next thing we have on our agenda is a discussion on a transportation impact fee. So Taylor, the city engineer, put this together. Currently, Hooper City does not have a transportation impact fee or a transportation utility fee. And it's a little bit different. He gave some notes on this, and I just wanted to do a discussion to see if this is something council would be interested in pursuing. Taylor said that there would be enough money already in the budget to be able to do this. We've already done our transportation study, so that isn't anything that would need to be done, and there would be enough money to do the transportation impact fee. A lot of times they do this, utility fee instead. So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on this, if this is something you would like to pursue us doing, or any thoughts?
How does it get assessed? How do we assess that fee in conjunction with other fees?
Yeah, so I think if it is a transportation impact fee, then I think it's by travel on the road. It's like for new developments, which the transportation utility fee is also too. But then they assess how many cars we have driving on the road. Like I said, it goes along with the transportation study that they have already done.
So
I didn't know that this was going to be on here tonight. Or I seen that, but I didn't know what it was about. But by coincidence, I was actually talking to Jared Hancock today about a whole different thing that came into this transportation fee. And Malcolm, you probably know more about this than any of us. Is that correct? That you know some about this, or what you've seen out there from other businesses? And I'll just bring up Terra Strata.
Yeah, other developments I've seen go through, there's typically cities have a transportation impact fee that is assessed at application or at approval, I suppose. So, yeah, for an instance in West Point, a transportation impact fee for a commercial development is $7,600 per 1,000 square feet of commercial development. So that development we looked at earlier was 160,000 square feet. So it'd be 160 times 7,500 just for perspective. But I don't know that fee in our fee schedule, and it's a substantial fee that probably has real cost. But I'm not familiar with what Taylor's talking about here, but I think it is something interesting to talk about for our growth. We have commercial development come in. West Haven, I've had to assess fees and pay those to them, and they do it per trip. So when you get a traffic study done, they do about $300 per trip that's generated, then that is what your impact fee would be. So those are fees that developers would have paid in other cities for sure. Farmington had one about $600 per 525 per trip that goes to the site that the traffic study impact shows. So I don't know. It's just an interesting thought. We're just getting things put together, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. I'm not an expert by any means, but we could definitely research it.
I was just thinking that, at Terra Strata, if they come in, if we end up doing this, that fee right there to Terra Strata would go a long ways for helping us with the lift station and may prevent us from even having to do a CRA or towards it.
I thought if this was something you were interested, we could have Taylor come and do a presentation and explain it more. It is something we haven't done, but as Malcolm mentioned, other cities do. And so when they do road projects, if they already have this transportation impact fee or the utility fee, they already have money set aside for roads. So that's why I wanted your thoughts. If it's something you would like to hear more about, we could certainly do a presentation on, because we haven't had one in the past.
I wouldn't be above having a presentation while I'm reading here. A reasonable amount that could be charged is between $10 to $30 a month per household, and more for businesses. Great for businesses. Ain't no way in heaven I'm gonna want to hit people with $10 a month more per household for driving on the roads. That's just not gonna work for me. That's $120 a year at the minimum. So yeah, if we can look into it towards commercial, great. But I'm not prepared to pound something onto the residents out here to drive the roads. I just don't think that's appropriate at this time.
And along those lines, I would suggest there's even businesses in Hooper currently that use commercial vehicles on a very consistent basis that are very much so wearing and tearing on our roads more than the average citizen. And so I'd be interested to know how we could apply a fee to a business that uses commercial transportation consistently and dependently, if that's even a possibility.
Can I just ask a follow-up? You're asking for current existing businesses that are using the infrastructure. Okay. So this specifically wasn't on the agenda. This is different. It's talking about a tough transportation utility fee as opposed to transportation impact. So, they're both possibilities, but that would be more this one.
So we probably really do just need to get a property and have Taylor come and maybe explain the differences of what they are.
I think that
and how we.
appropriate.
Okay.
We may want to, it may be worth, as the councils, or maybe Cody Peter may have a fair amount of expertise on this as well. I think in this memo he talks about Cody doing an assessment, but I don't know if Cody could be a resource. So.
Let's do it.
well, I can get that arranged then. Okay, thank you. Okay, the next thing on our agenda, and this is just something I wanted to discuss with you, a possible motion to change the September meeting dates. So our city council meetings in September, yeah, we don't have any public hearings tonight. So our city council meetings in September, our first one would be September 3rd, but that is actually during Hooper Tomato Days, and so we would not be having a meeting that day. So what I wanted to discuss with you is if you are interested in shifting the meetings down, so the first city council meeting would be the 10th, with planning commission the 17th, and then another city council meeting on the 24th. Or if you are good with only having one city council meeting in September, and we just have that on September 17th. I didn't know what you would prefer.
I think we have so much stuff that we need to work on that we actually need 2 meetings. That would be my choice, is to try and rearrange them, because we have so many items in front of us right now that we need to deal with. I don't think once a month's going to get it done.
Just a comment from staff. If we move things around, that's going to, the availability for the attorneys to be to both the planning commission and the attorney and the city council meeting is going to be difficult. I think as it stands, we're great, but if we switch them or flop them, then our availability is going to be different. If you add just another council meeting, I think that would be easier for staff, for the attorneys to be present.
And that's another thing we talked about. We could have our city council meeting instead of the 3rd. If you wanted to do it another night the next week and still keep the planning commission the same, whatever you feel like would work out better.
I like to keep things the same month after month, and I would prefer to go, if we've got a ton of stuff, I'd prefer to just be here longer that night and just get it done, however long it takes me, rather than throwing in another meeting, and I want Darren here.
We definitely need to have council here when we do anything, so what's going to work that way is good with me. But I just know we have a lot of stuff that we need to chew on.
To stay later or start earlier.
Councilmember Flowers Hill, do you have any thoughts on
I
this?
prefer just to have one meeting on the 17th.
Even
Even if it had to be longer.
Okay. What do you think, Councilmember Hill?
I agree also. 10th for the planning commission, 17th for the council,
Okay.
as scheduled.
Okay. And like you say, then if we need to stay longer, so that's why I just want some discussion, because sometimes it's been said in the past, oh, we want to have 2 meetings, so I just wanted to get your opinions on that. So thank you. We'll just leave that as the same, and just know on September 3rd, there will be no city council meeting. Okay, so the next, what we have on our agenda is the approval of resolution number 2026-06. So as you are aware, David Craig, who was one of our city council members, has moved. Actually, this morning they were moving, and because of that, we now have a vacancy on our city council. And the state has some exact language of how we go about doing that. And this resolution that we need to pass first goes through and outlines exactly word for word how we go about doing this. Is there anything, Darren, you need to add with that besides?
No, we discussed it last time. We do need to adopt it in order to move to the next step. That's next meeting.
So Darren, I know this is really petty again, but does it matter how we flip the coin? Whether we catch it or let it hit the ground, does that have to be in there?
Did I not put that in there?
It's on step 5. It depends on the ref, so I guess that's the recorder. Huh?
Oh, yeah. We're good.
So we're
I think
good.
that's
Okay, so,
Okay. So we need a motion then to approve resolution number 2026-06.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution number 2026-06.
Okay, the motion was made by Councilmember Hill. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second is made by Councilmember Flowers. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, because it is a resolution, we are going to do a roll call vote. We will start with Councilmember Hill,
Aye.
Councilmember Rappaletto,
Yes.
Councilmember Hancock,
Aye.
Councilmember Flowers.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Okay, so we had 2 candidates that put in an application from District 2, but I'm not seeing our other candidate here. I'm seeing one candidate, I'm not seeing unless if I'm missing him. Is Austin Jones here? I'm not seeing him. So,
get notified?
yes, so what do we do if the candidate does not show up? Do we just proceed with
We
the?
still would proceed the same way. We just still
Okay.
have to receive a majority vote for the person that.
Sure, okay. Okay, so our other candidate is Matthew Kiltz. And so we have some questions that the council had turned in that Morgan is going to be reading. So if you would come up to the podium and we will ask those questions, and then it's a very precise how the voting procedure actually goes. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we're just going, Morgan will just read the question to you, and then you can just go ahead and answer the question.
Okay.
Okay, so question number 1 is, what is your vision of the future growth of Hooper?
My vision of the future growth of Hooper is responsible growth, and I know a lot of people have said, what is responsible growth? And responsible growth is paying very close attention to what the general plan is. Also, looking at how we responsibly let our children live out here. I have 3 of my kids that live out here, actually. And I've got 2 more that are twins sitting back there. Hope that they'll get married one of these days and they'll get out here too. But it's so expensive to live out here, and so I just thought, you know, I was able to do what 8 generations of my family, I mean actually the 6th generation, no, 7th generation in my family, and my kids are the 8th generation that lived in Hooper. My great-great-great-great-grandpa was a Bio Wadsworth. His gravestone's here, and I believe that I have a lot of sense of community, and so I care a lot about how the growth in Hooper happens, and how it happens responsibly, and how we obtain revenues to help the city to grow as it's needed.
Okay, question number 2, what is one change that you would like to see in Hooper?
I'd like to see, as I mentioned before, how we handle open space, and how we handle certain areas of Hooper that wants to stay rural, and certain parts of Hooper that wants to develop. And I believe there's a way to work that out, especially with how many, I mean, there's the good people of Hooper. I mean, I know a lot of them, and they've expressed that same thing to me.
Okay, question number 3, tell us how committed you are to attending 2 council meetings per month. In addition, how willing are you to take on additional assignments and attend other meetings outside of the regular Thursday schedule?
Well, I'm semi-retired, so I'll be able to do that.
Perfect. Question 4, what direction do you see Hooper City going?
I see Hooper City going in a direction that for a long time we were never a city. It was just always Hooper out here. And I remember when we weren't a city, and we just basically had to hurry up and make a city because Roy was taking Roy. I don't know if you know, but Hooper used to go up to the railroad tracks, and slowly they took Hooper all the way down to the gas station down here. But anyways, I really believe strongly that Hooper has a lot of responsible and potential growth with community and sense of community, and keeping it rural, and at the same time doing what I kind of feel like West Point has done. I feel like they've done a pretty good job at trying to balance that
and that's how I feel about Hooper.
Okay, last question. What do you see as a concern for Hooper?
I see a concern with revenues, and I own a business and I understand revenues and how revenues work and how they don't work, and I feel like I'm able to, with my company that I was with for 40 years, that I was able to develop a pretty big and prosperous business and understand what the revenues do to run a city or run a business.
Okay, thank you. So it's a very strict voting process. Morgan will pass out a sheet of paper to each of us. We have to write our name on that sheet of paper. And do I explain a little bit now?
I do. Did we receive any notice that this other person has taken their name out? So I just would let the council know that the other person is still up for a vote for council. Whether they accept that or not, if they're voting in, that's a different thing. So we're going to still do the same thing through the paper.
So the name of the other person is Austin Jones. Okay, thank you.
Yes, say the council members meeting.
Okay, so with Councilmember Hancock, Matt Kiltz, Councilmember Bowers, Matt Kiltz, Larry Ropalato, or Councilmember Ropalato, Matt Kiltz, Councilmember Hill, Matt Kiltz, and then Mayor Bingham, Matt Kiltz.
Oh, and I'm so sorry. I think I went over some procedure incorrectly. Last time, the code is written poorly. With whether the mayor can vote, it's written very poorly. I think it could be argued either or, but I think to be safe, the mayor's vote should not, she can't count unless there's a tie. But it's still written poorly. That's on the record.
Okay.
You will work on fixing that, right?
Okay, so with the majority of the vote, you are our new District 2 City Council member, and we are going to have you come up, and Morgan is going to do your oath of office to swear you in, and then after that oath of office, we would welcome you to come up and sit on the dais, and you can motion on the last thing that we have, well, the two things on our agenda tonight. So if you'd like to come up here with Morgan.
So just raise your right arm. Like I said, I need this. I really don't like talking on the microphone. Okay. So just repeat after me. I, Matt Kiltz, having been elected to the office of District 2, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and we'll have you come up and sit by Councilmember Bowers. Thank you, we appreciate your willingness to serve. Okay, so the next thing we have on our agenda then is a motion for Mayor Pro Tem for 2026.
I'd like to make a motion that we Motion to nominate Councilman Hill as pro tem 2026.
Okay, the motion was made by Councilmember Rapalato. Is there a second?
Second.
Second is made by Councilmember Hancock. All in favor?
Aye.
Do you want to vote?
Yes, you vote. Okay, that was unanimous. So,
That was reluctant.
No, I'm not going to say that.
thank you.
Just said it.
Thank you for being willing to be our mayor pro tem. Okay, so the last thing on our agenda then is for adjournment. If there's someone that would like to make a motion to adjourn,
I'll make a motion to adjourn this fun meeting.
is there a second? Second. Okay, motion made by Councilmember Hancock, second by Councilmember Kiltz. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, and thank you all of you for coming to our meeting. We hope you'll come to more.